back into Moto in Warrington. So like I did last time, comparing the Royal Enfields, Himalayan and the Scram, today I'm going for the bigger engine bikes. I'm going for the 650s. So I'm going to do a direct comparison today with the Royal Enfield GT Continental 650, and I'm also going to have a go on the Interceptor 650, and I'm going to see which one is going to be best for me. If I was to choose one of these right now, which one would I buy? I'm not going to do the walk round video like I would do ordinarily, because I have reviewed both these bikes already. So if you're interested in one of those and you want to have a proper look around the bike, then I'll put links in the description below. I'll put details for Into Moto as well in the description. So stay tuned, and as always, comment below if you disagree with anything I say, if you've got a preference towards these bikes, if you've got one of these bikes even. Let me know how you feel about them. I can't wait. Hopefully the rain will stay off. It's dripping a little bit. Bike number one for this comparison is going to be the Interceptor 650. So let's see how we get on. I like how smooth this engine is. It's a pleasant place to be, this bike. You're sat relatively straight in the seat. So long distance wise, I'm not going to get a sore back if I was on this for hours and hours. It's a 650, as both bikes are today. So power wise, there's not an issue with either of these bikes. I've been on them before and done the review, so I know both of these bikes have got plenty of power. Certainly enough for around town and a bit of motorway as well. Well, I like how this has got the little brace there as well. That'd be quite decent for attaching a sat-nav or the phone to. It's the small things. It's really comfortable. It's very civilized as far as the exhaust goes. It's got a nice little rumble to it, but it's not what you would call obnoxious. It's not something that's gonna do your neighbour's head in when you start it up in the morning. It's just got a nice little purr to it. One thing I am a fan of with the Interceptor in particular, there are loads of different colour options available, and I'm a really big fan of the white and red with the gold stripe on. I think that bike looks really nice in that colour, and they do chrome versions and all sorts. Really are loads to choose from. So they definitely, if you're interested in one of these bikes, they'll definitely have a colour scheme that suits you. It comes down to, again, what you would use them for, what I use them for. Which one could I do long distance on? Which one do I prefer the look of, the ride of? And that's where it's going to be difficult today. They are both really good bikes. This bike is a nice sit-up bike, and I could see myself spending all day sat on this bike and it would be fine. I'd have no issues with it whatsoever, because of the seating position is so comfortable. If you have a preference, let me know. If there's a clear winner for you, let me know, because for me, I don't think there is a clear winner. I think it all boils down to personal preference rather than one bike being better than the other. Time to sum up this bike. So it's comfortable, it's nice and smooth through the gears, it's really nice around the bends as well. You can throw this bike around. It's got the sit-up position, which personally is my favourite, because I know long term it means I can stay on it for hours and hours. Let's take it back, let's go and have a look on the Continental. I love the Continental, but I've never been on it straight after this one, so the comparisons are going to be straight in my head. I'm literally just grabbing the keys and jumping on that, so stay with me for that one. Let's see how we get on that, and then I'll give you a summary at the end as to which I prefer and why I prefer it. Bike number 2 time. Continental GT 650. Let's see how we get on. Riding position, straight away, very noticeable. very noticeable. So on this, you are bent over the tank. Your feet are a little bit further back. You are in what I would consider to be a sporty riding position, but a comfortable sporty riding position. Last time I took this bike out, I was out on it for a bit. I absolutely loved it, but I could see this bike not being as friendly for a long distance ride. I mean, you tell me if you've got one. I think it's one of those bikes that you would have an absolute blast going out for a couple of hours. This bike would be hard to beat fun wise. When you first get on, you do think, oh, bit sporty, I don't know if I like it. But last time I got on this bike and I thought that, within about 5 minutes I thought, this bike's brilliant, it's awesome. And it kind of is. It's just a really fun place to be. This does have an aftermarket exhaust on, which I'm a big fan of. I think if I was to get one of these, I'd have to get the Lextech exhaust on, because I think it sounds good. It again is not obnoxious, it's not overly loud. When it comes to the bends, when you haven't got a knob like that pulling out in front of you, you get a corner and you get a smile on your face, because you know you're going to be able to throw this bike around the corner with ease. You do find when you're slowing down or you're coming to a stop, your weight does naturally come forward a little bit, so there's potential there for a bigger sore wrist action. I think you'd be fine for a few hours of non-stop playtime, and that's the thing what it boils down to, isn't it? It's what would you buy one of these bikes for? What is your aim? Are you going to go out for a ride for an hour, or are you going to go out for the day? Are you going to go down to the local cafe to meet up with mates, or are you going to go on a tour across the world? And that's the thing, it's all about personal preference and what you're actually using the bike for. Me personally, it's kind of all of the above. I do like to go out for a ride with the mates for an hour. I like to go out for the day, and I'm known for the occasional tour every now and then. So it's kind of what's most important to you. But this bike, don't get me wrong, this bike is brilliant. This is probably the most fun Royal Enfield I've ever ridden, and I've ridden all of them. But I am excited. I've already seen on the website this morning that new model I was talking about on my last comparison is going to be released in the next couple of weeks, and I'm just really excited to have a go of it. Who knows when it's going to hit the showrooms? Could be a couple of weeks. Hopefully it will be, because I need to get a ride on it now. I've seen pictures of it. I think it looks awesome. If the bike was for the sole purpose of a Sunday plaything, this bike would be the #1 choice for me, because it is that much fun, and you do have that sporty feel for it. So yeah, it's a great bike for that. But then again, if your sole purpose for the bike is comfort and long distance travel and using it as a bit of a workhorse rather than a plaything, then you'd pick the Interceptor. And that's the thing, I personally look for both in a bike. It's got to be able to do all things for me. It's got to be comfortable, it's got to be fun, And these are different levels of comfort. They're both comfortable-ish. What a nightmare trying to choose one. I wish I could just say both, because if I could afford to, I'd have both. I do love the sound of this exhaust though. I think whichever bike I was to choose would definitely have that exhaust on. It's just such a nice noise. Listen to that. It's just such a nice noise. It's not too loud, but it's got a great little rumble to it. Right, so I've had a ride of both bikes. I really like both bikes, but it just boils down to which bike would I buy with my own money, which bike suits me best. And frustratingly, at the minute, I'm gonna have to say both. But I'm not going to. I'm gonna pick one. It's my money, I'm getting a new bike. Which one would I pick with my own money? Which suits this 5'8" chubby guy? Which suits me best? Let's see. Let me park this up and then I'll go through them and decide which one I'd buy. And let me know in the comments which one you'd buy if it was you. This is difficult. I've been on both bikes. Really like both bikes, and I'd love to just say yeah, I'd have both. But I want to be clear. If I was shopping for a bike, I wouldn't buy both. I'd only buy one, because everyone's got a budget. I've got a budget. You've got a budget. So I will pick just one. So let's break them down. This Interceptor 650 is a great bike. It's comfortable. It's got that nice sit-up straight position, so it's going to be nice for a long journey. It's not going to be too painful on the back. It's got plenty of power. It's a nice bike. For me, there's very little you can find wrong with it. And again, Royal Enfield, you know it's going to be great value, and it is. And I'll put details at the end, specs, current deals into Moto if you're interested in this bike. So I like it. But then we have got the GT Continental 650, which again is a really great bike, and I really do like this bike as well. Now the difference with this is your seating position's a little bit more sporty. You are bent over the tank a little bit, so I would suspect after a few hours or a day riding, you've got potential to have a sore back and sore wrist. But this bike is so much fun to go and ride for a few hours for a blast with your mates, throwing this round the bend. I don't think there's many bikes out there that you would pick as being more fun than this. It's just an overall great bike for that. But I've got to weigh up which bike I would pick based on what I use a bike for. So currently I use my bikes for going to and from work, so I'll use it for the commute. I will go and meet up with mates. I'll have a little blast on my days off, and I do tours on them as well. And as much as I really love this bike, and it is my favourite Royal Enfield that's currently out there at the minute for riding, it's so much fun, love it. But for comfort and for all day riding, I'm going to have to pick the Interceptor. And I didn't think I would, but I think for what I use a bike for, both great bikes, I think you'd be ecstatic with any. But for me, the comfort overrides the fun. So it's kind of a head and heart moment. If my heart was buying, I'd pick that. But if my head was in charge, which sometimes it is, I would go for the Interceptor, just purely because it's a more comfortable bike. I could spend hours and hours on this bike, and you'd get off it feeling nice and refreshed because of the riding position. So for that, this is my choice. Let me know in the comments if your decision would be different to mine. Everyone's got their own opinion on these bikes, and you know, it boils down to personal preference, doesn't it, and what you use them for. And for me, I choose this. So thanks for watching. If you're interested in more videos like this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and I'll catch you on the next one. Laters.